So the first thing you need to do to burn is you need a USB cable, male to male, in which case it'll look like this. Male to male, very simple. You'll also need a box. I'm using a K1 Plus. This is a dev sample. Otherwise you can use a Q. This is outside of the shell. Once you load up the USB burning tool, you're going to change the language from Chinese to English, and you need to import an image. The image that I will give you more than likely will say AML package upgrade.img, or it'll be labeled correctly. In this case, I'm going to use this one. It's going to check the image, and it's going to go through that procedure. Once it's verified and everything is good, what you need to do is change a few of the options. So erase flash needs to be set to force erase all. Erase bootloader needs to be checked. Reset after success needs to be checked. Overwrite key needs to be checked. With all of these checked, you can click start. You'll plug your USB cables in to both sides. So plug it into the computer. I'll unplug the box and then plug the USB cable in first. Now it should automatically detect it. And we see here it automatically detects, and you can roll down and see right here, this is where it's burning it. So this is going to burn for a while. It takes about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. During this time, if you had another box, another device that you need to plug in, you would go ahead and plug that in, and then it would just appear on your list. In this particular case, you'll notice that I plugged the USB for this device right up here. This is the device USB that needs to be plugged into. It will not work in either three of those slots over there. Similarly for the Q, this port on here on the far left, if you're looking at it like this, or in this case the far right, this is the only one that will work. This middle one here does not work. It is not an OTG enabled device. So keep that in mind when you're burning, so if it's not detected. Another thing is if you're trying to use the Q and for some reason it doesn't automatically start this process when you plug it in, you'll need to boot it into recovery mode by using a toothpick. I have an Allen wrench here. You push it in, and push to the button, plug the USB in, and then it should automatically detect it. That'll force it to USB burning mode. You're going to get to a point when you're burning this, it's going to get to 98%, 97%. Sometimes it really depends. In this case, it's 98%. What it's going to do here is it's going to check and verify the image. This process should take anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute, depending on which device you're using. I've seen the Omni Stick take a minute to verify. I've seen the Q take as little as 30 seconds. This device, I think, takes about 30 seconds as well. So we wait for it to burn, and here we go. Boom, it's done. It'll say burning successful. Now, if there's any error, it'll appear in this list. It'll say whatever error. The most common errors that I've had are the bootloader is not the correct bootloader, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, if I use the Q, this image is incompatible. So if I were to plug this in, you can see here connect success, erase bootloader. It's going to go through the process of erasing, downloading the DDR, so on and so forth. It is possible that because the images are very similar that it may go through, but in this case it didn't. As you can see, it says ROM code initialized, DDR read, blah 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 blah. This is a whole lot of garbage. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is you have the wrong image. That's generally what happens with these, is if you don't have the right image, it won't work. So if you want to change the image, you just press stop, you go to file, import a new image, so on and so forth. In my case, I can import a Q, so I got the Q2 firmware. This is in a bad state, but you can just click stop and start, and it should boot it back up. Now, if you get stuck like this on erase bootloader, you'll see here it'll go through that. Just unplug it, plug it back in. It's going to go through the whole process, and then boom, easy as 1, 2, 3. Now, plugging in power is optional. However, for the Q, sometimes this does not get enough power. So what I recommend is making sure you plug in the power. You can do it while it's running, doesn't matter. Now I got the power plugged in. I can set it off to the side, and it will download as it needs to. In which case, download recovery, downloading the system, so on and so forth. The process is the same no matter which device. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot that really needs to be discussed outside of just making sure that when you're using these, you have the right image. This is super important. If you do not have the right image, more often than not, you'll just get an error. You have to unplug it, plug it back in. But there are small possibilities. I have done it myself where you will burn either the EPROM or some other parts of it where this thing will be rendered completely useless and it will no longer work because you'll fry some sort of module because it doesn't have the right image structure. So it's very important that when you're using this process that you use the right image for whatever device you're using. My suggestion is, of course, to use different stations for different devices. One station for Qs, one station for the new device that we're going to come out, one station for the Omni Stick, which will be coming out soon, so on and so forth. And as you can see, the Q, which is still going, takes a little longer. We're downloading the system right now, and we're at already 2 minutes, and it takes a little bit longer than the K1 Plus. The K1 Plus is a faster processor, so this one will take 2 minutes, 30 seconds, more than likely. But outside of that, once you're done, just click stop, close out of the program, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. Package it back up, and you're good to go. And like I said, you can plug in as many devices at the same time as long as you can power them all and as long as the computer has the bus speed to do it. Otherwise, you'll be in a spot where one will probably go faster than the other, or one won't go at all. And that's it. And you can see here, we're at 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Probably going to go to 2:30. You should see it here, roughly 2 minutes. Maybe a little longer, I guess. In this particular case, it's going to go a lot longer. So you can see there, that one took 3 minutes. So it's not necessarily 2 minutes, not necessarily 3 minutes. It just really depends on the device. So once it's burned successfully, you're done. And that's it.